kufanya mjadala. Lakini sisi kama chama cha Jubilee ndio wa kwanza kusema tunajiunga na Wakenya wengine kukataa Finance Bill 2026, reject Finance Bill 2026.
Kenya have decided to walk out of the IMF program. But the problem now is to seal the hole that exit created. Finance Bill 2026 is not a budget tool. It is a cover-up. Jubilee Party is calling it slavery. Fred Matiangi is calling it short-termism. And Kenyan workers are saying the burden is unbearable.
Ukiangalia yale ambayo yako kwa hiyo finance bill, unashangaa tutaishi wapi na tutaenda wapi. The cost of living is already unbearable for many. Kenyan workers, wafanyakazi wa Kenya saa hii. Sijui kama kuna mfanyakazi Kenya hii ambaye anatarajia ama anatasamia kupata payslip. Maisha ya kufanya kazi nchi sasa imekuwa kama ni utumwa. It's slavery. And Kenyan workers are paying every day over taxation. Na ukweli kwamba hii serikali imetoka kwa mpango wa IMF program. Why did they get out of the IMF program? Kwa sababu wamekataa audit. IMF inauliza audit. Na mnajua kwa nini wanakataa audit. Sisi zote tunajua kwa nini wanakataa audit. Because they have refused to accept that audit. They have gotten out of the IMF program. Sasa they are trying to look for money to plug the holes through overtaxation. That is the truth. Tuambiane ukweli na tuambie wananchi ukweli yale ambayo yanafanyika. So whether you bribe leaders of the transport sector for a day or two to get out of the street, whether you intimidate them or whatever you do, the problem does not go away. And this is the same short-termism, short-sighted way of managing the country that these people have adopted. There's a problem, throw money at it, bribe some people, or alternatively intimidate them or abduct them, or alternatively say ni kabila fulani.
So who is actually telling the truth and who is paying the price? So before we continue, ladies and gentlemen, listen to Fred Matiangi. On Wednesday, May 20th, 2026, Jubilee Party issued a formal press statement accusing the Ruto's government of economic failure and relentless attack on retired President Uhuru Kenyatta. Same day, Jubilee Deputy Party Leader Fred Matiangi went further, publicly linking Finance Bill 2026 directly to Kenya's exit from the IMF program and what he called a deliberate over-taxation of ordinary workers already at breaking point. The Jubilee Party statement did not mince a single word. The party accused the current regime of being, in their own language, dangerously obsessed with retired President Uhuru Kenyatta instead of governing, instead of fixing a collapsing economy, instead of addressing the pain Kenyans are living through every single day. The administration chose to spend the entire energy launching relentless attack on a retired president and dragging his family into political theater. Jubilee charged this is specific. Rather than governing, the Ruto administration is deflecting, reaching backwards into Uhuru's teacher to assign blame for failures happening right now under their current watch. The party went further. Senior government officials, including cabinet secretaries, have been accused of deliberately targeting one community. That accusation moves this story beyond economics. It places it squarely in the territory of identity politics and raises the temperature of an already volatile national environment. But it is a Jubilee Deputy Party leader, Fred Matiangi words that carried the sharpest edge. Former Interior Cabinet Secretary stated plainly that Kenya exited the IMF program. That exit created a financing hole. Finance Bill 2026, Matiangi argues, is not about development or infrastructure. It is about plugging that hole through pockets of workers who are already on their knees. The former CS called it slavery, called the government approach short-termism, a pattern of throwing money at problems, bribing sector leaders to clear streets for a day or two, intimidating protesters or abducting them, then repeating the whole cycle again. Transport sector was specifically mentioned. Matiangi suggested leaders were bribed for a day or two to stand down from the street action. The implication is stark. Government crisis management totaling has been reduced to three instrumentals. One is money. Two, intimidation. Three, abduction. Jubilee closed with a direct demand. Before this government drags Kenya's 50 years into the past to assign a historical blame, stand before Kenyans and answer for the blood on streets today. Answer for the lives lost during protests. Answer for the insecurity spreading while the state looks the other way. The hard question is, if Kenya exited the IMF program because it refuses to accept an audit of public funds, and the Finance Bill 2026 is now being used to fill that exact financing gap through workers' taxation, then who is being protected from that audit? And why are ordinary Kenyan workers and Kenyan people the one paying for that protection? What a Jubilee Party did on May 20th is not an issue of press release only. Party filed a political indictment, and the most dangerous line in it not the attack on President Ruto, it is the IMF claim. Because if Matiangi is right, then if Kenya walked away from the IMF program specifically to avoid a financial audit, then Finance Bill 2026 is not economic policy. It is a transaction, and Kenyans are being charged without consent, without explanation, and without any say in a decision made far above their heads. Bribing transport leaders for 2 days of silence does not fix a broken economy. It delays the invoice, and the interest of that delays keep compounding. So the finance bill is the question of who bears the cost of the political decisions made at the very top. The IMF exit, if Matiangi's framing holds water, was a sovereign choice made to protect someone from scrutiny. Finance Bill 2026 distributes the cost of that choice onto every Kenyan waking up today, tomorrow, going to a job that no longer covers their tax bill. Power sits at the top, pain lands at the bottom, and the government's response, according to Jubilee, has been to bribe, intimidate, and abduct anyone who dares to make